The big witness today was Hope Hicks, a name that you're probably familiar with. She worked closely with Donald Trump as part of his administration 4 years until eventually she fell out of his good graces. She's been angry. He's been angry with her since way back in 2022 when text messages emerged during a House investigation into what happened after he lost the 2020 election. She apparently was critical of him after the January 6th insurrection, and they haven't spoken since. Now, she was questioned, and in part she was questioned about the Access Hollywood tape. And it's considered to be important for the case of the prosecution because they say that basically everything that he was attempting to do to restrain certain information from getting out before the election is sort of a part of this, that when the tape came out, it spooked his campaign. And as a result of that, they became much more aggressive in using people from the Trump organization, including Michael Cohen, to quash stories, including Stormy Daniels. So it's an important contextual part of setting up what happened in this case.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you.
And throughout the day, she said a lot. And some of it was kind of helps the prosecution. A lot of people think that, but it was a bit of a mixed bag. And I want to present two of the big takeaways, and then we'll see who we think was benefited more by Hope Hicks's testimony. So she testified, as prosecutors expected, about the effect that tape being released had on the campaign, noting that Trump was a micromanager who closely supervised everything around him. And she acknowledged that it seemed unbelievable that Cohen would pay hush money to Stormy Daniels entirely of his own accord. So that seems helpful to the prosecution. On the other hand, let's see, as Matthew Colangelo, the prosecutor, asked about Trump's reaction to the Wall Street Journal article, Hicks said this: he was concerned about how it would be viewed by his wife. This is something the defense touched upon in its opening statement when it sought to portray Trump as a family man. It provides an alternative motive for covering up damaging information, a believable one that is unrelated to his electoral chances, basically saying that they weren't killing these stories to help him win the election. They were killing the stories so that Melania wouldn't find out about the things that he was accused of having done. And in addition, she suggested that Cohen could have been acting on his own, not on behalf of Trump. So the lawyer Emil Bove asked about Cohen's role, saying he went rogue at times, fair to say, and Hicks agreed that that was the case. Now, she also said that she found it unbelievable that he would have gone rogue in this particular area, but maybe the defense being able to get her to admit that sometimes he went rogue about some things could stick in the minds of some of the jurors. And so a little bit good for the prosecution, a little bit good for the defense. What do you make of it?
Yeah, so did he pay the hush money? Unquestionable. Did he doctor the records to pretend that he was paying for something else? Unquestionable. And they've got a mountain of evidence in that regard. His best hope is what John is mentioning here, which is, well, yes, we did all of that, but it wasn't for the campaign. It was because I didn't want my wife to find out. Now, I tell you, when Donald Trump says things that are totally implausible, that was not implausible. Like, I don't believe it at all, but I can see how some jurors could believe that, right? That's not out of this world. So that's his best hope. And even then, it doesn't really go towards falsifying the records, which is the actual charge here. Because remember, the campaign finance violations, the statute of limitations ran out on those. So they're doing this, at least the federal ones, they're doing this on falsifying the business records, which he did. But it's possible that some jurors might think, yeah, but he did it to protect his wife. And so I'm gonna just look past the fact that he falsified the business records. That's his best hope. Do I think, would I vote that way based on what I know, and I'm not on the jury, on publicly available information? No, I think he's definitely guilty. He definitely did it for the campaign. David Pecker explained that. Michael Cohen explained that. Hope Hicks is still connected to the Trump world, so she's gonna wanna help him in some ways, and that's the best way that she could help him. David, what do you think?
I'm a little more conspiratorial about all this. I wonder if Donald Trump actually did not care at all about Melania, but there's Hope Hicks, who by all accounts is pretty sophisticated in terms of communications with the Trump organization for several years. And I wonder if Hope Hicks decided, okay, I'm gonna give this story out there that I know might give some boost, some help to Donald Trump by portraying him as a guy who really loved Melania, who cared about it. And whether it's true or not, this is the one thing I can say on the witness stand that might provide something of a Hail Mary of hope for Donald Trump. And maybe the defense then picks up the ball or echoes that throughout the rest of the trial and is able to somehow introduce more evidence that Donald Trump really did care about Melania. Therefore, this wasn't about the election. This was about her, even though I don't believe that. And I'm not even so sure that Donald Trump necessarily said to Hope Hicks or anybody else he cares about Melania. But I think that's the agreed upon defense strategy from some of the witnesses who are torn because they have to testify, but they don't want to be the nail in the coffin for Donald Trump.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.